All right, so today we're diving into SmallishBeans and the Empire's SMP, which is always fun.
It is always fun.
And specifically, we're looking at his base building in the Mesa biome, which you have very kindly provided me with a stack of transcripts for.
I have.
Thank you for that.
You are very welcome.
So I guess the first question is, where do we even begin with this?
Well, I think the most important thing to focus on with all this is how he actually goes about creating his empire, which he calls Misaglia. It's a real interesting blend of, I think, strategic planning, creative building, and then just touch chaos.
Oh, yes.
Which is always fun to watch.
Of course.
So, yeah, I think that's what we should be looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're looking at how he builds his empire from the ground up, basically.
Yeah.
And I guess starting in the Mesa biome, that's not an easy place to start, is it?
No, it's not an easy place to start. He's immediately drawn to it because obviously he loves color. And the Mesa biome is very colorful, lots of terracotta and red sand. But it's not exactly the easiest in terms of like resources.
Right.
Particularly early game.
Okay. So he's having to think quite far ahead with this one.
Yeah, and I mean, you could see that in even like the first few episodes. It's a lot of grinding for basics. You know, every Minecrafter has been there.
Yeah.
Where you just need to get the basic stuff to even get going.
Absolutely.
But he is not above admitting that, like in episode 4, he's like, I'm currently living in a tent and I'm aiming to build the biggest house on the server.
Oh, right.
So he's got these opposing goals at the moment.
Yeah, and it's that kind of that silliness that we all love about SmallishBeans, I think, as well. But he is thinking ahead because I noticed pretty early on he starts working on what he calls the House of Knowledge, which is basically just for enchanting. Yeah. Which I thought was interesting because most people, I think, would rush like a starter base or something. Yeah. But he's going straight for the enchanting.
Mm-hmm. Which is actually quite a smart move when you think about it because enchanting means better gear. Better gear means he can then tackle the bigger projects more efficiently.
Yeah, he's thinking long term.
Absolutely.
He really is.
Which is one of the things I think makes him a really interesting Minecrafter.
Yeah.
Because he's not just playing in the moment.
Yeah.
He is actually thinking, like, what's the end goal here?
Yeah. And how can I get there the fastest?
Yeah. And what do I need to do to get to that end goal?
Yeah. Yeah.
And part of that, you see, when he starts building a wall around his space quite early on as well.
Yes.
I think it's episode 6. He starts that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah.
Which, again, it's not necessarily just about defense, although it plays a part. I think it's more about a statement.
Okay.
Like, this is my territory.
Yeah.
Misaglia is here to stay.
This is Misaglia.
Yeah. And it's only going to get bigger and more extravagant, as we will go on to see.
But yeah, it's interesting that he settles on that name Misaglia. Like quite early on, doesn't he?
He does. I think it's episode 6. He's like Misaglia. That's it. That's what it's called. And it kind of fits in with this.
It does, yeah.
This whimsical, slightly nonsensical way that he plays.
But then within that, he's very clever.
He's very strategic.
He's very strategic. Yeah. And you see that with this whole terracotta thing. Like he goes all in on this terracotta.
Oh, he does.
It's everywhere.
It's very clever, actually, what he does, because he's realized that the Mesa biome has an abundance of terracotta, which other players would kill for.
Yeah.
Because they don't have it anywhere near them.
Of course.
And he basically makes it Misaglia's main export.
Right.
It's what they're known for.
Okay, so he's using what he can in his environment to his advantage.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's really clever.
And building a whole trading empire off the back of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about this whole trading system. Because I'll be honest, when I was first watching, I was like, terracotta. Okay, moving on.
But it's not just terracotta. Because he has this whole trading system set up.
Yeah.
And he actually designs like a multi-level shop dedicated to terracotta.
Oh, wow.
That you can just go to. And he's got this whole thing where like he builds a hot air balloon to advertise it.
Oh, wow.
Because why not?
He's going all out.
He goes all out.
He's really committing to the bit.
It's part of this like creating a fully realized world, I think.
Yeah.
Even though it is Minecraft.
Yeah, and you can tell he puts a lot of thought into those things.
He does.
Like, that's not just a happy accident that he's built this fantastic trading outpost.
He thought about that. He's like,
yeah,
I need to make this a thing that people are going to want to come to. I'm going to make it look really cool.
And it does. It looks very cool.
And it's functional.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've seen shops and other people's plays and stuff before, but this one's different.
Yeah, he's gone all out.
He's really gone for it.
But it's not just terracotta trading, is it? There's something about villagers and mending books.
Yes. Villager trading becomes a slight obsession for smallish beans,
Oh, okay.
particularly mending books.
Mm-hmm.
He needs them. He needs a lot of them.
He really does, yeah.
He will go to almost any lengths to get them.
Like stealing villagers from Lizzie,
Yeah.
which I thought was very funny.
I mean, it's all in good fun. But he does, but it does highlight like how far he will go to get what he wants from Azalea.
Yeah.
He's literally prepared to steal from his wife
Yeah.
to make this work.
Yeah. And he does build quite an elaborate setup to transport those villagers as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's with the mine carts and...
Yeah, the minecarts. He loves the minecart system. Always has done.
It's true.
And he's got this whole breeding program as well, which unfortunately does lead to a few accidental deaths by those open trapdoors.
Oh, yes.
That we will talk about.
We will talk about those infamous trapdoors.
But yeah.
But we have to talk about the pinnacle of Mazalia, which is the Mazalian Natural Palace.
Yeah.
Now, this thing it's massive. Even for Smallish Beans standards, I think it's fair to say.
He dedicates like a good chunk of these episodes to this build.
Yeah.
And I think in episode 10, he actually says, it's the biggest thing I've ever built in survival Minecraft.
Oh, wow.
Which is saying something.
Yeah. So for those of us who haven't seen every single block be placed, paint me a picture. What is this palace?
Right. Well, I think the sheer scale of it is kind of mind-boggling when you first see it because it's got multiple towers, sprawling wings, all crafted with very distinct smallish beans, flair for color and detail.
Yes.
It's not just a base. He's creating like a landmark.
Right.
Something that just screams Mazalia from the mountaintops.
Yes.
And he does mention that he uses the Ligmatica mod for this one.
Oh, yes.
Which for anybody who's not familiar, Ligmatica basically lets you visualize large-scale builds in-game before placing a single block.
Oh, right. Okay.
So even someone as experienced as Smallish Beans needs a little bit of help sometimes.
So it's not just us then?
No, it's not just you and me.
Who needs a bit of help sometimes?
Struggling with the basics. But
Yeah.
So it's this really big, intricate build that he's obviously put a lot of thought into.
And those roofs. The colored roofs.
The colored roofs.
Damn, it's taken him forever.
They took so many resources. He actually mentions in episode 14, I think it is, that the amount of red sand and concrete that he's using is actually impacting other building choices he's making.
Oh, wow.
Because he just needs so much of it.
So it's not just the aesthetic. It's like he's having to bear in mind, like the resources as well.
Yeah, and actually like resource gathering. Becomes this kind of recurring theme, I think, throughout a lot of the episodes.
Was it?
Where he's constantly needing to go out and get more stuff.
Okay.
But he never compromises on the aesthetics.
That's true. Yeah.
Because even with that, he's still using loads of azalea and moss to kind of give this overgrown natural look to it all.
Right. So it's like it's always been there.
Yeah, like it's always been part of the mesa biome. It's just kind of grown out of the landscape.
Very cool. But, you know, it wouldn't be a Smallish Beans series without his interactions with the other players. And, of course, we have to talk about Lizzie.
Oh, of course.
Because they're married in real life, aren't they?
They are.
And that dynamic definitely spills over into the game.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's very sweet.
It is.
Like in episode 13, when Lizzie gets taken out by an Enderman, he calls her my love. Which I thought was very cute.
It's very sweet.
And then later on, I think it's in episode 15, he calls himself a needy husband.
Right.
Because she's off helping someone else with a project.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what about me? I need help.
I need attention.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's very clear that they have like a really nice relationship.
Yeah.
Like on and off camera.
Yeah.
Which is really sweet to see.
It is.
And that kind of bleeds into their alliance as well.
Yes.
Because they help each other out a lot.
Yeah.
Like in episode 11, when Smallish Beans admits he needs an elytra, which are the wings that let you fly in Minecraft.
Yeah.
It's Lizzie that provides him with an Unbreaking Third book.
Oh, wow.
For the elytra. So she's obviously helping him out there.
Yeah, she's a good egg.
She is. But even with Lizzie's help, things don't always go smoothly in Mazaglia, do they?
They do not.
Especially when it comes to mobs.
Oh, the mobs.
Yeah.
The bane of every Minecrafter's life.
The bane of everybody's life.
Yeah. What were some of his biggest struggles then, would you say, with the mobs?
I would say one of his biggest struggles was in episode 33. He complains about creepers constantly spawning inside his mega base, which nobody wants because you spent all this time meticulously placing the blocks, and then a creeper just comes along and blows a chunk out of it,
and all your work's gone,
and you just like want to rage quit.
I would, yeah.
It's just heartbreaking.
So how does he combat that?
Well, he tries various things. I mean, episode 18, he spends ages meticulously lighting up the top of his mega base
Okay.
to try and prevent mob spawns.
Right.
Because obviously if this is lit up, mobs can't spawn.
Of course, yeah.
He also sets up a dedicated spider farm in episode 9
Oh, right.
because you always need string
You do always need it.
in Minecraft.
Yeah.
So that's quite a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
He does actually die a couple of times in episode 12 while trying to gather red sand for the palette, which just goes to show, like, no matter how experienced you are, Minecraft will always find a way to humble you.
It will find a way to humble you.
Yeah, which I think is one of the things I love about the game as well.
Yes.
Is that just when you think you've got it all figured out,
Yeah.
it throws something else at you.
Yeah, it throws you a curveball.
It does.
But it's not just the mobs that cause chaos.
No.
Like SmallishBeans creates his own chaos as well, doesn't he?
He does.
And we have to talk about that TNT prank.
Oh, the TNT prank.
On a Fripp.
Classic SmallishBeans.
In episode 23.
Oh, it's just brilliant.
Like that whole thing.
It's just so him, isn't it?
It really is.
Like the meticulous planning,
yeah.
the elaborate setup, and then that poem he leaves for Fwip,
The poem.
blaming it on Scott's Major.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just comedy gold.
Yeah, it really is. And it's so, like, that is SmallishBeans to a T.
That is.
And we left off with him building that statue in Jimmy's empire.
Oh, yes.
What was Jimmy's reaction when he finally saw that?
So you've got to imagine this, right? You log on expecting to just, work on your base or whatever, and bam, there's this giant pixelated SmallishBeans just staring back at you.
Just staring into your soul.
Into your soul.
Yeah.
What's your reaction?
I'd probably laugh, to be honest.
I think I would as well.
I'd find that hilarious.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. So what does he do?
So at first he's speechless. He's just staring at this thing. Like, is that really?
What is that?
Yeah. And of course, SmallishBeans being Smallish Kings, trying to play it cool. He's like, oh, this old thing. Yeah. Just a little something I threw together.
You do.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I love it. But surprisingly, Jimmy takes it in stride.
Does he?
He does.
Oh.
He even jokes, there's a creeper nearby, implying that it could take out this statue. And you can practically hear the panic in SmallishBeans' voice when he says that.
Oh, right.
Because obviously he's put a lot of effort into this.
He has, yeah.
And he doesn't want it to be destroyed.
So he's fond of it.
He is quite fond of it.
Even though it's on someone else's property.
Yeah. Which I think, again, just speaks to his kind of nature as a Minecrafter.
Yeah.
Like, he just wants to have fun with it.
Yeah.
He's not too serious. He just wants to have a laugh.
Yeah. So does that statue just stay there?
It does stay there.
Yeah.
But it becomes something more than just a statue. Because they actually build a secret meeting room underneath it.
No way.
They do.
I know.
Okay, tell me more. So they decide, right? We're going to build this secret meeting room. And this is where we're going to plot. To get the cod head back.
Right.
Because remember that whole saga of the stolen cod head?
When 4 whips stole the cod head.
Yes.
Yes.
So they've got this whole plan. And this statue, that was initially just a prank, is now like the headquarters.
It's like their little secret base for their evil plans.
Yeah. Which I just think is brilliant.
That's amazing.
It just goes from this funny little thing to like a symbol of their alliance.
Yeah.
It's great.
That is amazing.
It's so good.
Ah.
It's just so SmallishBeans, though, isn't it?
It really is. It really is.
It's like he just takes this one little thing and just runs with it.
And it becomes something else entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things I love about him.
Yeah.
He's very good at that.
Yeah. And he's not afraid to just go for it, is he?
Yeah.
Like, whatever comes into his head, he's just like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's just do it. Why not?
And it either works or it's hilarious.
Yeah. And even if it doesn't work, it's still funny.
It's still funny.
And that's the main thing.
That is the main thing.
Right. So where do we go from here?
I don't know.
Where do we go?
Where do we go from here? We've got a giant statue. We've got stolen cod heads. We got
trapdoors that are going to cause so many problems.
I know.
I can't wait to talk about the trapdoors.
I know, me neither.
So yeah. Where do we go from here? Well, I think the trapdoors are a really good example of how he approaches the game. Because on the one hand, they're a bit of a running joke.
Yeah. Like, he's always leaving trapdoors open. And people fall in. And it's funny.
It is funny.
But on the other hand, it's also kind of indicative of his process, which is, I'm just going to go for it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to let that stop me.
It's the SmallishBeans way.
It is the SmallishBeans way.
Yeah. But yeah, those trapdoors. They cause all sorts of problems, don't they?
It caused so many problems.
I mean, people fall in them, mobs fall in them, items fall in them.
Items fall on them. He even loses a villager at one point
Yeah, poor villager.
to a trapdoor.
I mean, it's not all bad. At least the spiders can't get him.
That's true. That's true. He's very good at spider-proofing all of his builds.
Oh, yeah.
It's like he's learned his lesson from all the times he's died to spiders in the past. Yeah. But then he leaves himself open to other things
Exactly.
with these trapdoors.
Yeah, it's like he's picking his battles.
I guess so.
Like spiders. No, thank you.
I'm not having it.
Everything else. Bring it on.
Yeah. But it's not just the trapdoors, is it? There's a lot of other things that happen in Montaglia that are, let's say, unplanned.
Yes.
So what are some of your favorites?
Well, there's that one time, I think it was episode 17, where he's building this elaborate redstone contraption.
Okay.
And he accidentally sets it off.
Oh, no.
And it causes this huge explosion that just decimates like half of his base.
Oh, smallish beans.
I know. And he's just standing there, covered in soot. And he's just like, well, that was unexpected.
Classic.
I know. It's just so funny because you can tell he's annoyed because he's put all this work into it.
Yeah.
But he's also secretly quite pleased with himself.
Yeah, of course.
Because it was a really cool explosion.
Oh, it's always a good explosion.
It is.
Especially when it's not your base.
Especially when it's not your base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are some like heartwarming moments as well, though, aren't there? Like I'm thinking about when he helps Impulse SV
Oh, yeah.
with his starter base.
That was really sweet.
Yeah.
Because Impulse SV was having a bit of a tough time. I think he'd lost a lot of his stuff. And SmallishBeans just kind of rocks up. He's like, everybody, let's do this.
Yeah. And he just helps him out.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
Yeah, he just gets stuck in.
Just gets stuck in.
Which I thought was really nice.
It was really sweet because it shows that. You know, he does have a good heart underneath all the chaos.
Yeah, he's not all TNT and trapdoors.
Exactly.
He's got a heart of gold.
He does.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah. But then he goes and builds a giant statue of himself.
He does.
So I don't know. Jerry's out.
Maybe he's just trying to distract us from the heart of gold.
Yeah.
With the giant statue.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Who knows? But that's what we love about him, isn't it?
Exactly. That's Smallish Bean.
It is SmallishBeans. But I think what's really interesting is that he manages to balance this kind of chaotic energy with actually being really good at the game.
Yeah.
Like he's not just messing around. He's actually a very skilled Minecrafter.
Yeah. I think people forget that.
Yeah, because he's so funny. And he's always, getting up to mischief.
Yeah.
That actually he's a really good builder.
Yeah.
He's really good at the technical aspects of the game.
Yeah.
Like the redstone.
The redstone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got a good eye for detail as well.
Yeah.
Like you look at his builds, and even though they're big and they're grand and they're colorful, they're also really well put together.
Yeah, they are.
Like he's thought about every little detail.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Like I think sometimes people think that to be good at Minecraft, you have to be really serious and you have to take really seriously.
Yeah.
But Smallish Beans is proof that you can. You can have fun and still be.
I can be both.
Yeah.
You can be skilled and you can have fun. And I think that's a really important message.
Yeah, it is.
Especially for younger players.
Yeah.
Who might be watching and thinking, oh, I'm not good enough.
Yeah. I could never do that.
Yeah. But actually, you can just do what you enjoy.
Exactly.
Have fun with it.
And it's okay to make mistakes.
Exactly.
Because that's how you learn.
Yeah.
And sometimes those mistakes are the funniest moments.
Absolutely.
And the most memorable, like that TNT explosion that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, it's going to be a moment that he remembers.
Oh, yeah.
For years to come.
Yeah.
Even though it probably cost him a fortune.
Probably. In resources. Yeah.
But
the memories.
The memories are priceless.
Exactly. So, what, I guess, the takeaway from this is, if you're going to play Minecraft, be more like Smallish Beans.
I think that's a good takeaway.
Yeah.
Be more like SmallishBeans.
Have fun.
Have fun.
Don't be afraid to experiment.
Don't
worry about the trapdoors.
Yeah. Just embrace the chaos.
Embrace the chaos.
That is SmallishBeans in a nutshell.
That is Smallish Beans.
Yeah.
So, where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess the only way from here is up.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Let's see what other adventures SmallishBeans has in store for us.
Let's do it.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think the only way is up from here.
So I guess to wrap up then, we've talked about SmallishBeans' base. We've talked about his love of terracotta. We've talked about his love of trapdoors. What have we learned today?
I think we've learned that.
Ugh.
To be successful in the Empire's SMP, you need to embrace both chaos and strategy.
I like that.
And I think SmallishBeans does that perfectly.
Yeah.
It's got this really fun, chaotic energy.
Yeah.
But he's also really good at the game.
He is. Yeah.
And he's always thinking ahead. He's always got a plan.
Yeah.
Even if that plan involves blowing something up or stealing villagers from his wife.
And you know what?
Yeah.
It works for him.
It does.
It really does.
And that's the main thing.
It is the main thing.
Like, you watch him, and he is having so much fun.
Yes.
And that's what Minecraft is all about at the end of the day.
It is about having fun.
Yeah.
And he makes it look good.
And he makes it look very good.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
You're very welcome.
It's been an absolute blast.
It has been a lot of fun.
To everyone watching, make sure you check out SmallishBeans over in the Empire's SMP, because he's doing some amazing things.
As always.
As always. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.